Are claiming victory this morning following last night's presidential debate. Meanwhile, Democrats, they're in panic mode after President Joe Biden's poor performance. Take a look.
We'd be able to wipe out his debt. We'd be able to help make sure that all those things we need to do, child care, elder care, making sure that we continue to strengthen our health care system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the COVID, with dealing with everything we have to do with, look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Well, he's right. He did beat Medicare. He beat it to death, and he's destroying Medicare because all of these people are coming in. They're putting them on Medicare. They're putting them on Social Security.
With less than 5 months to go before voters head to the polls, there is talk of changing the Democratic ticket as a possibility here. Joining this morning is political analyst J.C. Polanco to weigh in on what we saw play out last night. So great to have you here this morning, J.C.
Thank you, Dan, but you should have put a viewer discretion before showing the audience that clip. That was terrible.
Well, so when you look at this, J.C., right, there are two things from the takeaway. There's substance and there's performance. Yeah. So let's break those down first on performance, because many are saying that President Biden had one thing to do, and that was to discount that he is too old for the job. How'd he do?
He failed. That was a train wreck yesterday for the president. He had to show the country that he was confident, that he was in command and control, and he was astute. None of that happened last night. I don't know whether it was the setup, Dan and Vanessa. I don't know what it was, but it wasn't a debate. And I think that the 16% of the electorate who said in the polls that they're going to depend on this debate to decide who to vote on were left in the dark yesterday because there was not a contrast. You did not see a debate on the substance or the issues. The way this debate was set up, it was a showcase where you can ask former President Trump a question, he'll answer what he wants to answer. Mm-hmm. And I think the audience saw that. How do you feel about child care? You know, something about Palestine, something about Gaza, something about Ukraine. Have a good day. And then the audience was left with what happened there. But he said it with so much certainty, right, so much strength and conviction. And he's a master marketeer. Mm-hmm. You know it. Mm-hmm. You know it. Everybody knows it. He's selling you a stuff. And I think that independent voters, the 16% of the population that's going to decide this election, saw confidence yesterday in the former president and saw in President Biden someone who was matching his age. And, you know, Mother Nature and Father Time were present yesterday, and we saw it in President Biden.
And they're only 4 years apart, but it certainly felt like a whole lot more when you watched the two debate. Go ahead.
JC, in a post-debate interview, we heard from Vice President Kamala Harris, who said she did admit the president did get off to a slow start, but did he ever quicken and pick up during this debate?
He had a couple of zingers, but the damage was done. It was like almost he was over-prepared. You know, it was like he was so much data, and he was really on stage against someone who was talking in slogans and in bumper stickers. Mm-hmm. And with our attention span, which we have 15-second attention span, as you know, he was getting his message out. He was repetitive. He was, and it was important for him to continue just harping on the things he wanted to say. The debate didn't matter. There was no fact checking. The moderators were set up in a debate with rules where they couldn't fact check him up to the moment. So every time he said millions and millions and millions, nothing you could do.
So that was the performance. Yep. On the substance of the issues, I know you're talking about former President Trump lying. How did President Biden do on the issues and the substantive matters for people's kitchen table issues like the economy, like inflation?
Unfortunately, he didn't get the message out. There were so many opportunities to talk about those issues. He was getting into the weeds. He was getting too much into the detail, and we don't have the attention span. And quite frankly, he wasn't up to the challenge yesterday to make complex issues digestible.
Okay, so that's what he had to do, right? Was run and hit home the matters for kitchen table issues that for people, right? You're saying he didn't do it. He didn't hit the substance. He didn't hit the performance. So now they're waking up this morning, and the Democratic Party is saying what?
Well, you're seeing it. There's a lot of panic right now. You know, the democracy is at stake in this election, and if the election were held today, I don't think anybody who's honest, and I will never be dishonest with you guys, I don't think anybody would think that President Trump doesn't win the election if the election were held today. Thankfully for Biden, you have some time left to make up what happened yesterday. But you're going to have to come out stronger. Look, there's no question this is not the same Joe Biden as we saw him in the State of the Union. Without a doubt. Mm-hmm. His voice was off. He was lacking air. You could see he was tired. I don't know who this person was, but it's not who many of us were expecting. And quite frankly, I don't think this is who Trump was expecting. So it didn't matter. Trump was lying. Trump wasn't on a substance. It didn't even matter. On style, there was no question that yesterday, the 16% who saw this said, that man is confident, and I think he has the strength to be president.
Quickly, before we let you go, do you think they appeal to the African-American Latino vote, which we know is very important to both these candidates?
Well, let me tell you, I think that former President Biden, when he says black jobs, you know, we're in New York, so we're shocked with that kind of language. But when you're out there in Michigan and you're out there in Arizona and you're seeing undocumented migrants coming in, I think they have an understanding in those communities what he means by those jobs. I think he's going to do very well with the African American community. I think he's going to do well with Latinos. And I think it's very important for President Biden to come back and really regain strength with the black and Latino community, or else he's in trouble.
Do Democrats this morning are waking up, right? They're talking about what's it going to look like at the convention. Is Biden going to be the nominee? It likely is that he will be, but is there someone else?
I don't think there's anyone else. And if there were a change, it better be Kamala Harris. Can you imagine it's anyone but Kamala Harris who's going to replace him at the top of the ticket? I think that if you were to do something as far as what we're hearing some pundits say, go outside of Kamala, you're going to have a very disappointed Democratic base who's going to be very insulted if you replace Kamala Harris, who's the heir apparent vice president, with someone else other than her. And I think it's going to cost them the election further. So you got to make sure that if you're going to replace President Joe Biden, you got to go with Kamala Harris. And how does she do in the polls against President Trump? In those swing states. This is going to be a very tough election. And I think it's going to be very difficult for President Biden in the next couple of weeks to just turn this ship around.
We're going to see how all of this goes. J.C. Polanco, don't forget this was something that President Biden wanted. He wanted this early debate with these kind of rules. A lot more to talk about, but we're out of time. Good to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.